Question 1. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges arise in real estate financing, a property owner defaults on their mortgage payments. The lender proceeds with foreclosure, but the borrower claims that the lender did not follow the state's required foreclosure procedures. The borrower further asserts that the mortgage contained an unfair clause that should render it unenforceable. Under property law, which of the following is the most relevant legal argument that the borrower can make to challenge the foreclosure? A. The lender failed to comply with statutory foreclosure requirements, making the foreclosure voidable. B. The borrower's personal hardship should be considered, preventing foreclosure. C. The mortgage itself is void due to the borrower's inability to read and understand the contract at the time of signing. D. Mortgage can never be foreclosed if borrower makes partial payments even if they do not meet the full required amount. Answer A. The lender failed to comply with statutory foreclosure requirements, making the foreclosure voidable. Explanation. Under property law, mortgage foreclosure must follow strict legal procedures, including providing proper notice, allowing redemption periods, and complying with judicial or non-judicial foreclosure processes. If a lender fails to follow the statutory requirements, the foreclosure may be challenged and potentially invalidated. A. Correct. Courts often invalidate foreclosures where statutory foreclosure procedures were not followed, as due process rights are fundamental in property law. B. Incorrect. What courts may consider hardship in rare cases, personal financial hardship alone does not prevent foreclosure unless specific relief statutes apply, such as bankruptcy protections. C. Incorrect. Courts do not generally void mortgages based on a borrower's failure to read the contract. The principle of caveat emptor applies, placing the responsibility on the borrower to understand the terms before signing. D. Incorrect. Partial payments do not necessarily prevent foreclosure unless lender explicitly waives its right to full payment or enters into loan modification agreement. Legal basis. Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, RESPA, and state foreclosure statutes govern lender obligations. Mortgage terms may be challenged under Truth in Lending Act, TILA, or state consumer protection laws, but do not automatically invalidate foreclosure. Question 2. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement in zoning regulations, a commercial property owner seeks a variance to operate a manufacturing facility in a district zoned for residential use. The zoning board denies the request, stating that it would disrupt the neighborhood. The property owner argues that this denial constitutes an unlawful taking of property without just compensation. Under property law, which of the following is the strongest legal principle supporting the owner's claim? A. The Takings Clause of the Fifth Amendment prohibits any restrictions on land use. B. Zoning regulations must always allow property owners unrestricted use of their land. C. A regulatory taking occurs when government restrictions deprive a property owner of all economically beneficial use of their land. D. Property owners have an absolute right to use land for any commercial purpose, regardless of zoning laws. Answer C. A regulatory taking occurs when government restrictions deprive a property owner of all economically beneficial use of their land. Explanation. Zoning laws are a valid exercise of government police power regulating land use to promote public welfare. However, if a zoning regulation deprives a property owner of all economically viable use of their property, it may constitute a regulatory taking under the Takings Clause. Fifth Amendment, as applied to states through the 14th Amendment. A. Incorrect. The Takings Clause does not prohibit zoning restrictions. It only requires just compensation if a taking occurs. B. Incorrect. Courts uphold zoning laws as long as they serve a legitimate public interest and do not deprive an owner of all beneficial use. C. Correct. In Lucas v. South Carolina Coastal Council, 1992, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that a regulation that deprives an owner of all economically viable use constitutes a compensable taking. D. Incorrect. Zoning laws legally restrict land use, and courts consistently uphold their validity unless they constitute a regulatory taking. Legal basis. Fifth Amendment's Takings Clause, U.S. Constitution, Lucas v. South Carolina Coastal Council, 1992. Established that regulation depriving all economic use constitutes taking. Penn Central Transportation Company v. New York City, 1978. Defined factors courts consider in determining regulatory takings. Question 3. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in concurrent property ownership, two co-owners of a property disagree on whether one can transfer their share without the consent of the other. The deed does not specify any restrictions on transferability. One owner argues that they have a right of survivorship and that unilateral transfer is not possible. The other owner insists that they can sell their share freely. What type of ownership best supports the argument that a co-owner can transfer their share without consent? A. Joint tenancy. B. Tenancy by the entirety. C. Tenancy in common. D. Community property. Answer: C. Tenancy in common. Explanation: different forms of concurrent ownership have distinct rules governing transferability. A. Incorrect. In a joint tenancy, owners share a right of survivorship, meaning that when one owner dies, their share automatically transfers to the other owners. Additionally, a unilateral transfer can sever the joint tenancy, converting it into a tenancy in common. B. Incorrect. Tenancy by the entirety applies only to married couples and does not allow unilateral transfers without the spouse's consent. C. Correct. In tenancy in common, each owner distinct transferable interest that can be sold or conveyed without the consent of the other owners. There is no right of survivorship. D. Incorrect. Community property applies only in certain states for married couples and typically requires spousal consent for transfers. Legal basis: tenancy in common, default form of concurrent ownership if no specific language establishes joint tenancy or tenancy by the entirety. Joint tenancy, established by intenti, G, to and B as joint tenants with right of survivorship. Tenancy by the entirety, recognized only for married couples in certain jurisdictions. Community property, applies in states such as California and Texas, but is distinct from general concurrent ownership principles. Question 4. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in real property transactions, a developer is facing a legal dispute regarding the validity of an adverse possession claim made by a neighboring landowner. The neighboring landowner argues that they have used a portion of the developer's land for over 15 years without permission, making improvements such as fencing and small structures. However, the developer recently purchased the property, argues that the previous owner had attempted to remove the encroachment multiple times, issuing formal notices and even starting legal proceedings before passing away. The dispute hinges on whether the neighbor has met all the necessary legal elements for adverse possession in this jurisdiction, which follows the general common law requirements. Given the circumstances, which of the following is the most legally sound conclusion regarding the adverse possession claim? 8. The neighbor successfully acquired title through adverse possession because they used the land openly and continuously for 15 years, making improvements that enhance their claim. B. The claim of adverse possession fails because the original owner took legal action to contest the occupation, breaking the requirement of continuous and uninterrupted possession. C. The new developer, as the successor in title, cannot challenge the adverse possession claim because the statute of limitations has run, barring any challenge to the title. D. The neighbor can claim adverse possession if they provide evidence that the previous owner's legal actions did not successfully evict them or disrupt their possession. Answer: B. The claim of adverse possession fails because the original owner took legal action to contest the occupation, breaking the requirement of continuous and uninterrupted possession. Explanation: under common law principles of adverse possession, a claimant must satisfy 5 key elements: actual, open and notorious, exclusive, continuous, and adverse, hostile possession for the statutory period, usually between 10, 20. Depending on the jurisdiction, the requirement of continuity is crucial. If the true owner actively interrupts possession, e.g. by filing legal actions or issuing notices, the adverse possessor's claim is weakened. Yet the fact that the original owner attempted to remove the encroachments and even initiated legal proceedings indicates an interruption in continuous possession. Thus, the adverse possession claim fails. A is incorrect because the mere passage of time and improvements do not automatically grant title if the possession was contested. C is incorrect because the statute of limitations applies to the adverse possessor's claim but does not prevent the new developer from asserting defense against it. D is incorrect because the burden of proof falls on the adverse possessor to show uninterrupted and exclusive control, which is compromised by the prior owner's legal challenges. Question 5. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, the federal government exercises eminent domain to seize private farmland for a highway expansion project, arguing that it is necessary for public infrastructure and national security purposes. The landowners affected by the taking challenge the action, asserting that 1. The compensation offered does not reflect the highest market value of the land, and 2. The prod being built in a way that benefits private developers more than the general public, considering constitutional protections and eminent domain laws, which legal principle most directly addresses their concerns. A. The government has unlimited discretion in eminent domain cases and private landowners have no legal recourse once the taking is declared. B. The landowners can challenge the taking under the takings clause of the Fifth Amendment, arguing that the compensation must reflect fair market value and that the project lacks a true public purpose. C. The landowners can only challenge the compensation amount but not the taking itself, as courts defer government's assessment of public necessity. D. The government must demonstrate that the project has no private benefit whatsoever, otherwise it is an unconstitutional taking. Answer. B. The landowners can challenge the taking under the takings clause of the Fifth Amendment, arguing that the compensation must reflect fair market value and that the project lacks a true public purpose. Explanation. The takings clause of the Fifth Amendment provides that private property shall not be taken for public use without just compensation. This clause has been interpreted to allow eminent domain only if the taking is for a legitimate use and the owner is provided with just compensation, typically fair market value. Courts evaluate whether a project serves a public purpose, e.g., infrastructure, public services, rather than simply benefiting private parties. A is incorrect because property owners can challenge eminent domain takings in court. C is incorrect because while compensation challenges are common, courts also assess whether the taking serves a legitimate public purpose. D is incorrect because a project may have incidental private benefits but still be constitutional if the primary purpose is public. Question 6. When scaling up operations that experience significant land use conflicts, a homeowners association HOA enforces restrictive covenant prohibiting short-term rentals in gated community. However, several property owners claim that this covenant is unenforceable because it was not explicitly stated in their purchase agreements and was only adopted after they had acquired their homes. Some owners continue to use their properties for short rentals despite repeated warnings from the HOA. What is the strongest legal argument for the HOA in enforcing the restriction? A. The restrictive covenant is automatically binding because it was adopted by the HOA and applies to all homeowners, regardless of when they purchased their property. B. The restriction is unenforceable against existing homeowners because covenants must be individually agreed upon in purchase contracts. C. The restriction is enforceable if it is properly recorded in the community's Declaration of Covenants, Conditions, and Restriction ERS and Align. State property law. D. The restriction is invalid because it interferes with the fundamental right of property owners to use their land as they see fit. Answer. C. The restriction is enforceable if it is properly recorded in the community's Declaration of Covenants, Conditions, and Restriction ERS and aligns with state property law. Explanation. Restrictive covenants are typically enforceable if properly recorded in community CRS and agreed upon as part of the development's governing documents. Courts generally uphold such covenants when they are clear, reasonable, and serve legitimate community interest, e.g., preserving property values or maintaining residential character. A is incorrect because HOA rules are not automatically binding unless incorporated into the CRS or purchase agreements. B is incorrect because restrictive covenants do not require individual agreement if they are properly recorded in CRS. D is incorrect because property rights are subject to reasonable restrictions under land use laws. Question 7. During a seamless transition where continuity must be maintained in property transactions, a family-owned business is transferring commercial property to the next generation via a life estate arrangement. The patriarch retains a life estate while granting a remainder interest to his children. However, after a few years, financial difficulties arise and the patriarch takes out a mortgage on the property without the children's consent. Patriarch passes away. The lender attempts to foreclose on the entire property, including the remainder interest. Which legal principle governs this situation? A. The lender can foreclose on the entire property because the life tenant had full rights to mortgage the land. B. The lender can only foreclose on the life estate interest, but not the remainder interest because the remainder holders were not part of the mortgage agreement. C. The lender has no rights to foreclose as life tenant has no legal authority to encumber the property. D. The lender can seize the entire property under equitable estoppel. Remainder holders failed to challenge the mortgage earlier. Answer. B. The lender can only foreclose on the life estate interest, but not the remainder interest, because the remainder holders were not part of the mortgage agreement. Explanation. Under property law, a life tenant has the right to use and mortgage the property during their lifetime, but cannot affect the rights of remainder holders without their consent. When the life tenant dies, their interest terminates, meaning that any mortgage on the life estate cannot income the remainder interest. A is incorrect because a life tenant does not have full ownership rights. C is incorrect because a life tenant can mortgage their own interest. D is incorrect because remainder holders are not obligated to challenge a life tenant's mortgage. Question 8. In a case involving the interpretation of a commercial lease agreement, a tenant leases a retail space in a shopping center under a triple net lease (NNN lease), meaning they are responsible for property taxes, insurance, and maintenance costs. Halfway through the lease term, the landlord significantly increases the common area maintenance (CAM) fees, arguing that new security systems and renovations benefit all tenants. The tenant disputes this, claiming that the lease agreement contains a fixed CAM fee clause. Which of the following legal principles is most applicable in resolving this dispute? A. The landlord can increase the CAM fees at their discretion as long as the total cost benefits the entire shopping center. B. If the lease agreement specifies a fixed CAM fee, the landlord cannot unilaterally increase charges beyond what was contractually agreed. C. The tenant is responsible for all maintenance costs regardless of the agreement, since they sign a triple net lease. D. CAM fees are regulated by state law and must be approved by a local business authority. Answer B. If the lease agreement specifies a fixed CAM fee, the landlord cannot unilaterally increase charges beyond what was contractually agreed. Explanation. A triple net lease generally requires the tenant to cover property expenses, but the specific terms of the lease control how those costs are allocated. If a fixed CAM fee is included in the agreement, the landlord cannot unilaterally increase it. Courts generally uphold contractual language, and an attempt to raise the fees beyond the agreed upon terms would be considered a breach of contract. A is incorrect because a landlord's discretion is limited by contractual terms. C is incorrect because even in triple net lease, the terms of the lease still govern the exact payment structure. D is incorrect because CAM fees are typically governed by private contracts, not state regulations. Question 9. A property owner seeks to challenge a city's zoning restriction that prevents them from developing multifamily apartment complex. The City Council recently enacted zoning ordinance that designates the area as strictly single-family residential R1, despite prior proposals for high-density housing. The owner argues that the zoning law is overly restrictive and violates their constitutional rights by unfairly limiting the use of their land. Under what legal doctrine could the property owner challenge this zoning regulation? A. Regulatory taking under the Fifth Amendment, arguing that the zoning restriction eliminates all economically viable uses of the property. B. Police power doctrine, which allows cities to regulate land use, making the challenge invalid. C. Eminent domain, requiring the city to compensate the owner for restricting development. D. Inverse condemnation, which applies only if the government physically seizes the property. Answer A. Regulatory taking under the Fifth Amendment, arguing that the zoning restriction eliminates all economically viable uses of the property. Explanation. A regulatory taking occurs when a government regulation goes too far in restricting the use of private property, effectively depriving the owner of any reasonable economic use. Under the takings clause of the Fifth Amendment, the property owner may challenge the ordinance as an unconstitutional restriction on their rights. Courts typically assess whether the regulation leaves the property with any beneficial use or if it is overly burdensome. B is incorrect because while cities have zoning authority, their regulations can still be challenged if they are excessively restrictive. C is incorrect because eminent domain involves the government acquiring property, not just restricting its use. D is incorrect because inverse condemnation applies when the government's actions amount to facto physical taking. Question 10. A homeowners association, HOA, is attempting to enforce ban on solar panels in neighborhood, arguing that they detract from the community's aesthetics. Homeowner disputes this restriction, citing state laws that encourage renewable energy installations. The HOA points to covenant in the deed restrictions that states all exterior modifications must be approved by the board. What is the most likely legal outcome of this dispute? A. The HOA can enforce the ban because deed restrictions take precedence over state law. B. A homeowner can install solar panels if the state has solar rights law that overrides HOA restrictions. C. The homeowner must remove the solar panels because deed restrictions are absolute. D. A HOA can enforce the ban but must offer financial compensation for the cost of panel removal. Answer. B. The homeowner can install solar panels if the state has a solar rights law that overrides HOA restrictions. Explanation. Many states have solar access laws that prevent HOAs from imposing unreasonable restrictions on solar energy systems. If state law explicitly protects homeowners' rights to install solar panels, the HOA's ban would be unenforceable. A is incorrect because state law can override restrictive covenants in some cases. C is incorrect because deed restrictions are not absolute when they conflict with public policy or specific laws. D is incorrect because compensation is not typically required if a HOA loses legal challenge. Question 11. During a major transformation where existing methods are being restructured, the company faces challenges in maintaining operational continuity while transitioning to a cloud-based infrastructure. The department has identified that legacy systems do not integrate smoothly with the new cloud solutions, causing frequent data synchronization errors and latency issues in critical processes. Which of the following strategies is the most effective in ensuring a seamless transition while minimizing disruption? A. Decommission all legacy systems immediately and enforce a complete migration, ensuring all employees adapt to the cloud-based environment without dual systems. B. Implement a phased migration approach with hybrid cloud integration, gradually transferring workloads while monitoring system performance and adjusting accordingly. C. Rely on third-party consultants to handle all technical issues without involving internal staff, as external experts will manage the transition more efficiently. D. Keep the legacy systems operational indefinitely while selectively migrating non-critical functions to the cloud. The urgency of full integration. Answer B. Implement a phased migration approach with hybrid cloud integration, gradually transferring workloads while monitoring system performance and adjusting accordingly. Explanation. A phased migration approach allows for incremental adoption, reducing the risk of operational failures. By integrating hybrid solutions during the transition, the company can maintain critical functions on both legacy and cloud systems while gradually shifting work, monitoring performance, and resolving issues proactively. A is incorrect because an immediate, full transition could cause significant disruptions. C is incorrect because external consultants should support, not replace, internal expertise. D is incorrect because maintaining legacy systems indefinitely limits scalability and increases long-term costs. Question 12. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges must be addressed simultaneously, a multinational corporation is implementing strict compliance measures following new international data privacy regulations. However, some regional offices argue that these compliance requirements conflict with local business practices and create inefficiencies. What is the best approach for balancing global compliance standards with regional flexibility? A. Apply a one-size-fits-all compliance model across all regions, ensuring strict uniformity regardless of local concerns. B. Develop a centralized compliance framework with provisions for regional adaptations, allowing adjustments while maintaining core regulatory standards. C. Allow each regional office to independently determine its compliance strategies to maximize efficiency, even if it results in inconsistencies across operations. D. Focus only on compliance in regions with strict regulations, while allowing more flexible implementation in areas with minimal enforcement. Answer B. Develop a centralized compliance framework with provisions for regional adaptations, allowing adjustments while maintaining core regulatory standards. Explanation. A centralized compliance framework with regional adaptability ensures that the company meets global regulatory obligations while allowing operational flexibility in different locations. This approach reduces resistance from regional offices while maintaining consistency. Accountability. A is incorrect because a rigid global model may not be practical in all jurisdictions. C is incorrect because decentralized compliance can create legal liabilities and operational inefficiencies. D is incorrect because inconsistent compliance can lead to penalties in stricter jurisdictions. Question 13. When scaling up operations that experience significant complexity, a logistics company is expanding its distribution network across multiple regions. However, inconsistencies in warehouse efficiency, inventory tracking, and last-mile delivery performance have emerged. Some locations report excess stock, while others experience frequent delays due to demand fluctuations. Which strategy would best enhance scalability and operate efficiency while maintaining cost-effectiveness? A. Implement a centralized inventory management system with real-time data analytics to optimize stock levels and demand forecasting across all regions. B. Allow each distribution center to manage inventory independently, ensuring greater autonomy for local decision-making without global oversight. C. Reduce stock levels across all warehouses uniformly to minimize overhead costs, even if it means potential shortages in high areas. D. Focus only on expanding warehouse capacity in the highest demand regions while keeping the existing system unchanged elsewhere. Answer: implement a centralized inventory management system with real-time data analytics to optimize stock levels and demand forecasting across all regions. Explanation: a centralized inventory management system with real-time analytics improves visibility, ensures accurate demand forecasting, and optimizes stock distribution across regions. This approach prevents overstocking and shortages, enhancing scalability and cost efficiency. Incorrect because independent inventory management can create discrepancies and inefficiencies. C is incorrect because reducing stock levels uniformly disregards regional demand variations. D is incorrect because merely expanding warehouses without optimizing operations does not solve inefficiencies. Question 14. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in an organization's product development cycle, leadership identifies recurring bottlenecks in the testing and quality assurance phase. Teams often delay releases due to repeated bug fixes, but early-stage issues could have been addressed during initial development. What is the most effective approach to resolving this issue and improving development efficiency? A. Shift to an agile development model with continuous testing and iterative feedback throughout the process. B. Extend the car phase to allow more time for bug fixes before final release, ensuring product stability. Increase team size in the car department to improve efficiency, even if development workflows remain unchanged. D. Prioritize speed over quality, releasing updates faster and addressing issues in later patches or product revisions. Answer A. Shift to an agile development model with continuous testing and iterative feedback throughout the process. Explanation: agile development with continuous testing reduces the likelihood of major errors late in the cycle by identifying and fixing issues early. This approach increases efficiency, improves collaboration, and enhances product quality. B is incorrect because delaying product releases does not prevent fundamental issues. C is incorrect because increasing team size without process improvements does not address inefficiencies. D is incorrect because sacrificing quality for speed increases customer dissatisfaction and long-term costs. Question 15. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a hospital network experiences a cybersecurity breach affecting electronic medical records (EMRs). Doctors and nurses struggle to access critical patient data, causing delays in treatment. What is the best immediate action to mitigate risks and restore functionality? A. Immediately disconnect all systems from the network to prevent further breaches, even if it disrupts hospital operations. B. Shift to manual record keeping while cybersecurity teams work on restoring the EMR system. C. Implement an incident response protocol, prioritizing restoration of critical systems, patching vulnerabilities, and isolating compromised areas. D. Continue operations as usual while monitoring for further breaches, assuming that full shutdown would be too disruptive. Answer: C. Implement an incident response protocol, prioritizing restoration of critical systems, patching vulnerabilities, and isolating compromised areas. Explanation: a structured incident response balances containment, recovery, and continuity, isolating affected systems, patching vulnerabilities, and restoring essential services ensures both security and functionality. A is incorrect because disconnecting all systems could hinder emergency care. B is incorrect because manual record keeping is only a temporary workaround, not a solution. D is incorrect because ignoring the breach risks further damage and potential data loss. Question 16. In a situation where resource allocation becomes a challenge, a government agency must prioritize funding between public health programs and infrastructure projects. Budget constraints prevent full funding for both. What is the best approach to balancing these competing priorities? They allocate all available funds to public health, postponing infrastructure improvements until future budgets allow. B. Divide funding equally between both sectors to ensure fairness, even if it reduces effectiveness. C. Conduct a cost-benefit analysis to determine urgent needs and prioritize funding based on projected long-term impact. D. Seek private sector partnerships to fund one sector while using government resources for the other. Answer: C. Conduct a cost-benefit analysis to determine urgent needs and prioritize funding based on projected long-term impact. Explanation. A cost-benefit analysis ensures that limited resources are allocated to high-impact projects first. This approach balances short-term urgency with long-term sustainability. A is incorrect because ignoring infrastructure could cause economic setbacks. B is incorrect because equal funding may not align with actual needs. D is incorrect because private partnerships might not fully replace government responsibilities. Question 17. When implementing new protocols in a shared environment, a financial institution introduces automated fraud detection systems. However, employees resist adopting the new system, fearing false positives could delay legitimate transactions. What is the most effective way to address employee concerns while maintaining security? A. Provide comprehensive training on how the system works and allow manual override options for flagged transactions. B. Disable the system temporarily to ease concerns, gradually reintroducing it later. C. Mandate strict compliance with the new system, disregarding employee concerns to maintain security. D. Low fraud detection sensitivity to reduce false positives, even if it increases fraud risks. Answer 8. Provide comprehensive training on how the system works and allow manual override options for flagged transactions. Explanation. Training and manual override options help employees understand the system while ensuring legitimate transactions are not disrupted. B is incorrect because delaying implementation weakens security. C is incorrect because ignoring concerns reduces employee engagement. D is incorrect because sensitivity increases fraud risk. Question 18. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, a large e-commerce company evaluates its customer service response times. Data reveals that most customer complaints stem from delayed responses during peak shopping seasons. Which strategy would best improve customer satisfaction while maintaining cost efficiency? A. Hire additional full-time customer service representatives to handle seasonal spikes. B. Implement an AI-driven chatbot for first-level customer inquiries while escalating complex cases to human agents. C. Reduce the number of customer service agents during non-peak seasons to save costs. D. Extend customer service response time guarantees without adding new resources, hoping to set lower expectations. Answer. B. Implement an AI-driven chatbot for first-level customer inquiries while escalating complex cases to human agents. Explanation. AI-driven chatbots can handle common inquiries, allowing human agents to focus on complex issues. This reduces wait times and improves cost efficiency during peak seasons. A is incorrect because hiring full-time staff for seasonal spikes is not cost-effective. C is incorrect because reducing staff in non-peak seasons does not address response time issues during peak times. D is incorrect because extending response time guarantees lowers customer satisfaction rather than solving delays. Question 19. While investigating a complicated issue between different teams, a tech startup experiences conflicts between its engineering and marketing departments. The marketing team demands rapid product updates, while engineers prioritize stability and rigorous testing. This misalignment causes missed deadlines and internal frustration. What is the most effective way to align both teams? Implement cross-functional meetings where engineers and marketers discuss priorities and agree on realistic timelines. B. Prioritize the engineering team's concerns over marketing, ensuring product stability above all. C. Force both teams to compromise equally regardless of their strategic needs. D. Assign one department full control over decision-making to avoid conflicts. Answer A. Implement cross-functional meetings where engineers and marketers discuss priorities and agree on realistic timelines. Explanation. Cross-functional meetings encourage collaboration, realistic goal setting, and ensure both teams work toward a shared vision without unnecessary trade-offs. B is incorrect because ignoring marketing needs can hurt business growth. C is incorrect because forced compromise without context may lead to inefficient outcomes. D. Incorrect because giving one team full control creates resentment and weakens cooperation. Question 20. In an environment where different components must interact seamlessly, an airline company upgrades its passenger booking system to integrate with multiple travel platforms. However, inconsistent data synchronization between systems leads to duplicate bookings and lost reservations. What is the best solution to improve system reliability? A. Develop a real-time data synchronization protocol that ensures accurate updates across all integrated platforms. B. Rely on manual verification by customer service agents to resolve inconsistencies as they arise. C. Disable integrations with third-party travel platforms to maintain booking accuracy. D. Introduce a 24-hour delay in data updates to allow systems time to process transactions sequentially. Answer A. Develop a real-time data synchronization protocol that ensures accurate updates across all integrated platforms. Explanation: real-time data synchronization prevents discrepancies, ensuring seamless communication between booking platforms. This approach reduces errors and enhances customer experience. B is incorrect because manual verification is slow and prone to human error. C is incorrect because disabling integrations. Business opportunities. D is incorrect because delaying updates worsens booking conflicts instead of preventing them. Question 21. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a hospital system experiences a cyber attack that disables access to electronic health records as doctors and nurses must rely on paper records while teams work to restore the system. What is the best strategy to ensure patient safety and operational continuity? A. Implement a pre-established emergency protocol that includes offline access to critical patient data and manual backup procedures. B. Temporarily halt all non-urgent medical procedures until the system is fully restored. C. Rely solely on verbal communication between medical staff to relay patient history and avoid written errors. D. Wait for the team to resolve the issue before resuming patient care to prevent incorrect data usage. Answer: implement a pre-established emergency protocol that includes offline access to critical patient data and manual backup procedures. Explanation: a pre-established emergency protocol ensures continuity of care and minimizes disruption by allowing staff to access essential information offline while teams resolve the issue. B is incorrect because delaying all procedures could put patients at risk. C is incorrect because verbal communication increases the risk of miscommunication and errors. D is incorrect because waiting for fixes could endanger patients who need immediate care. Question 22. In a situation where formal requirements conflict with practical needs, a manufacturing plant must comply with strict environmental regulations while increasing production capacity. The required upgrades are costly and may delay production targets. What is the best long-term solution to balance compliance and productivity? A. Invest in eco-friendly technology that meets regulations while optimizing production efficiency. B. Temporarily bypass some environmental requirements to meet production goals. C. Reduce production output permanently to align with current environmental limits. D. Challenge environmental regulations in court to delay compliance requirements. Answer A. Invest in eco-friendly technology that meets regulations while optimizing production efficiency. Explanation: investing in eco-friendly technology ensures long-term regulatory compliance while improving operational efficiency. B is incorrect because bypassing regulations can result in legal penalties and reputational damage. C is incorrect because reducing production hurts profitability. D is incorrect because legal challenges do not guarantee exemptions and may lead to longer delays. Question 23. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in an international supply chain, a retailer notices that delayed shipments lead to inventory shortages and ultimately customer dissatisfaction. What is the most effective risk mitigation strategy? A. Diversify suppliers and develop backup logistics plans to handle disruptions. B. Increase reliance on a single supplier to simplify operations. C. Reduce inventory levels to minimize financial risk even if shortages occur. D. Rely on historical data only to forecast demand instead of adapting to real-time market conditions. Answer A. Diversify suppliers and develop backup logistics plans to handle disruptions. Explanation: diversifying suppliers and planning for disruptions ensures supply chain resilience, reducing risks from single points of failure. B is incorrect because reliance on a single supplier increases risk. C is incorrect because lower inventory exacerbates shortages. D is incorrect because real-time market conditions are critical for forecasting. Question 24. When scaling up operations that experience significant inefficiencies, a growing software company struggles with slow product updates and internal bottlenecks. What is the best scaling strategy to improve efficiency? A. Adopt agile development frameworks to streamline workflows and enhance collaboration. B. Maintain existing processes without changes to avoid risks during growth. C. Reduce the number of development teams to improve focus. D. Focus only on hiring new employees instead of optimizing processes. Answer A. Adopt agile development frameworks to streamline workflows and enhance collaboration. Explanation. Agile frameworks allow teams to adapt quickly, improve efficiency, and scale effectively. B is incorrect because not evolving processes slows growth. C is incorrect because reducing teams may worsen delays. D is incorrect because hiring alone does not resolve inefficiencies. Question 25. In a multi-location scenario where consistency requirements vary, a restaurant chain struggles with quality control across its locations. What is the best standardization approach? A. Develop a centralized quality control system with flexible local adaptation. B. Allow each location full autonomy over food preparation standards. C. Mandate identical procedures across all locations, ignoring regional differences. D. Rely solely on customer feedback to monitor quality issues. Answer A. Develop a centralized quality control system with flexible local adaptation. Explanation. A centralized system ensures brand consistency while allowing flexibility for local needs. B is incorrect because full autonomy causes inconsistencies. C is incorrect because rigid policies may not suit local preferences. D is incorrect because customer feedback reacts to problems instead of preventing them. Question 26. When implementing new protocols in a shared environment, a healthcare facility updates its patient data sharing policies. Some departments resist the change due to privacy concerns. What is the most effective way to ensure compliance and cooperation? A. Provide training and transparency about the security measures in place. B. Force compliance without addressing concerns. C. Allow departments to opt out of new protocols. D. Delay implementation indefinitely until all concerns dissipate. Answer A. Provide training and transparency about the security measures in place. Explanation. Training and transparency build trust and ensure smooth adoption of new protocols. B is incorrect because forced compliance creates resistance. C is incorrect because opting out defeats the purpose of standardized data sharing. D is incorrect because indefinite delays weaken policy enforcement. Question 27. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, a national logistics company finds that package delivery times are inconsistent, leading to customer complaints. The company wants to optimize operations without increasing costs significantly. What is the most effective strategy to improve efficiency? A. Implement AI-driven route optimization to reduce delays while using existing resources. B. Increase the number of delivery trucks without analyzing current inefficiencies. C. Prioritize speed over accuracy, reducing the time spent verifying addresses. D. Accept that delays are inevitable and focus on improving customer service messaging instead. Answer A. Implement AI-driven route optimization to reduce delays while using existing resources. Explanation. AI-driven route optimization can improve efficiency and speed without additional costs, ensuring faster, more reliable deliveries. B is incorrect because adding trucks without optimization does not solve inefficiencies. C is incorrect because prioritizing speed over accuracy increases missed deliveries. D is incorrect because accepting delays does address the root cause. Question 28. In an environment where different components must interact seamlessly, a smart city initiative integrates traffic management, public transport, and emergency services into a single digital system. However, different departments have conflicting software standards that hinder integration. What is the best approach to ensure cross-system compatibility? A. Develop a unified digital framework with standardized data sharing protocols. B. Allow each department to continue using its existing system without integration. C. Rely on third-party vendors without internal oversight. D. Prioritize one department's system and force others to adopt it. Answer A. Develop a unified digital framework with standardized data sharing protocols. Explanation. A unified framework with standardized protocols allows seamless interaction across different departments without disrupting workflows. B is incorrect because lack of integration creates inefficiencies. C is incorrect because third-party solutions without oversight may not align with the city's needs. D is incorrect because forcing adoption, resistance, and compatibility issues. Question 29. While managing a hybrid approach where timing issues create bottlenecks, a global software firm uses a mix of remote and in-office teams across different time zones. Project deadlines are frequently missed due to delayed communication between teams. What is the best way to improve coordination and meet deadlines? A. Implement asynchronous collaboration tools and clear handoff processes. B. Require all employees to work identical hours, even if it conflicts with their time zones. C. Rely only on email communication without structured workflows. D. Reduce the number of global teams to simplify coordination. Answer A. Implement asynchronous collaboration tools and clear handoff processes. Explanation. Asynchronous collaboration tools, such as task management platforms and recorded updates, improve workflow efficiency and reduce delays. B is incorrect because requiring identical hours disrupts productivity across time zones. C is incorrect because email alone lacks structure for efficient collaboration. D is incorrect because reducing teams limits scalability. Question 30. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a large metropolitan hospital experiences a cyber attack that disrupts access to electronic medical records. EMS. Doctors and nurses struggle to retrieve critical patient data, delaying urgent treatments. What is the most effective strategy to minimize disruptions during such incidents? A. Implement offline backup systems and conduct regular cybersecurity drills for emergency preparedness. B. Wait for the department to resolve the issue before resuming medical operations. C. Shift to handwritten records without any structured backup plan. D. Ignore the breach and continue using compromised systems to maintain workflow. Answer A. Implement offline backup systems and conduct regular cybersecurity drills for emergency preparedness. Explanation. Offline backups ensure that patient data remains accessible during cyber attacks, while regular cybersecurity drills prepare staff to handle emergency situations efficiently. B is incorrect because waiting for it delays critical treatments. C is incorrect because handwritten records without structure create errors and inefficiencies. Incorrect because using compromised systems exposes data to further breaches.